myself. Like I haven't seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. It's time to switch it up, put the hip shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real weapons being real itself. Like I haven't seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. Money.
Like Kanye West said, having money is not everything. Not having it is. No, Deuteronomy 8:18 says God gives us the ability to create wealth. No, it's the love of money that's involved. You don't like money so much, why you get up and go to work? Yeah, I do think about one of the things that Mark thinks about today. I'm just trying to leave a legacy for money. That's not everything, but when you got it, you can do some cool stuff. Now, your host for Talking Money in the Morning, financial health mentor to the working class, Cortez.
Good morning, good people. I am your main man, H. Cortez, one and only financial health mentor to the working class, where I do my very best to bring practical yet proven wealth building strategies to working class men and women all over this great nation of ours. Welcome. It is an honor, privilege, and a pleasure for you to be tuning into, or for me to have you tuning into Talking Money in the Morning Live, where I am here to motivate, encourage, and uplift, give you wealth building principles and strategies that you can apply right now, today, and change your tomorrow. So if you're watching this on Facebook, do me a huge favor, share this stream on your wall. Just like you, there's some other people who are struggling with understanding the power of self-determination this morning, and we want to be able to help them as well. So share the stream for me. If you're watching this on YouTube, do the same thing. I want you to share the stream, grab the link, share it in your favorite social media platform, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, wherever you like to share video feeds and things of that nature. Grab the link and share it, because I believe you're truly going to be blessed by the information that we're going to provide on this morning's show. As always, let's talk about who this show is for. This show is for all of you lovely folks who are up this morning, rising and grinding. Whether you're going to work, you're going to school, doesn't really matter. You decided that you're going to put one foot in front of the other so that you can have a better tomorrow. This show is for you. If you're going to get up, get out, and get something, like my man Outcast used to say, back in the day, then this show, my friend, is for you. If you understand the power of creating generational wealth, and you're doing something today that's going to make your great-great-grandchildren proud to bear your name, this show is for you. If you have the discipline to be wealthy, the desire to be wealthy, but maybe you lack a game plan, maybe you're looking for a mentor, maybe you need some strategies, some tips on how to overcome, this show, my friend, is for you. On the other hand, if you spent any second of any minute of any of your day yesterday watching the debate, trying to figure out who's going to fix the economy for you instead of focusing on your economy, this show is not for you, man. I'm telling you, if you don't understand now that you have to take your economy and your future into your own hands, this show ain't for you, man. If you have one of those weird relationships with money where you're capitalism is a dirty word, you think money is evil, you think wealthy people are snobs, this show, my friend, is not for you, because when you have that kind of relationship with money, you tend to repel it away from you instead of attracting it to you. And if you watch this show, chances are you're going to start attracting money to you. And why would you attract something to you that's evil, right? So this show ain't for you. I get it. Now, let's be clear. I do not have a problem with you not wanting to be wealthy. I only have a problem with you when you have a problem with me wanting to be wealthy. Right? It's your prerogative to be complacent, and some of you guys have ascended the ladders of the corporate America. Some of you guys have gotten a retirement plan together and all of that thing, and you're just content with where you are. There's nothing wrong with that. Some of you guys are just satisfied with being average. That is not me. Like I tell you every morning, if you've never seen a future billionaire, then I want you to take a screenshot, because you're looking at one right now. Hold me accountable to that, and then watch me work over the next 5 to 10 years. I'm telling you. It's going down, people. So I just want to let you know who the show is for, who the show is not for. Just in case you stumbled up on this show on accident, I always like to let you know exactly who this show is for. Today's episode is brought to you by American Hustle Investments. My man Jay Turner up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin is bringing me up this Wednesday, October 12th. If you're in the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area and you need a financial turnaround, then I'm going to give you the address or I want you to go to my fan page, Financial Health Mentor, and look at the event that I put up. It says Building Wealth from Scratch, Milwaukee. Join that event because this Wednesday, doors open at 6. The presentation starts at 6:30. I'm sorry I don't have it written down in my notes here, but I'll make sure I put it in the actual comments when we're done so that you know exactly where we're going to be. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My man Jay Turner of American Hustle Investments bringing me up there for a workshop. I'll be teaching wealth building principles and strategies. So if you know anybody in the area, if you're in the area and you want to come out and meet me live and get your questions answered live on the spot, see a live presentation, then you're certainly welcome to do so. Again, so today's show is brought to you by American Hustle Investments and my man Jay Turner up in Milwaukee, doing some big things, bringing wealth building information to our community, guys. That's what it's all about. And if you want to put yourself in position to have me come to your city, your town, your community and teach these strategies, then I want you to reach out to me via inbox so I can tell you what it will take to get me to come to your city with a workshop where we can teach you and your family first and foremost, but then your extended family, your community and their friends and their family on true wealth building principles. I have no problem doing that. Have financial education, will travel. I don't have a problem, man. We need this in our community. So that's why I'm doing this every morning. That's why I'm willing to travel. That's why I host workshops all the time. Because if we can get our collective financial IQ up, I think then we can start rebuilding our community, because our communities are down because of a lack of economic empowerment. And you can't have economic empowerment with a low financial IQ. So today we're talking about the power of self-determination. I don't know if you got a chance to check out last week's show, but we started a series based on the biblical principles that was found in Proverbs 30:24 through 28. And basically, I'm paraphrasing, but if you get your Bible out, you'll know that it says something to the effect that there are 4 things on the earth that are small but are exceedingly wise. And I wanted to touch on those 4 things and give you a word that you can use and associate with those 4 things. So the first thing in the scripture it talks about is the power of preparation. We learned that from the ant. So it says the ants are weak, but they gather their food all summer. See, most people discount the power of preparation. Even those who want to take action, I was one of those guys. I just love taking action. I get my heart and mind fixed on something. I just start going to work. But when you do that and discount the power of preparation, then you end up doing things twice. You end up touching things twice, when if you had prepared, you could have saved yourself some time and some energy and probably some money too, because I can't tell you how many projects that I've started where I bought material, got something started, realized I was doing it wrong, had to go back and start over and buy more material. So the power of preparation is real. We learned that from the ant. So it says the ants are weak, but they gather their food all summer. So they prepare for lean times. We as a people know that winter is coming every year, but what do we do all summer long? We party, right? So we learn the lesson, the power of preparation from the ant. And then it says the conies are a feeble folk, but they build their houses in the rock. Now, a coney is a rock badger. It's kind of like a beaver or a badger. And all it is they build their homes in cliffs and rocks. Now the coney says, you know what? I can be like the beaver. I can take my teeth and I can bite down some wood and chop down some trees and use that to build my house. But the conies understand the power of leverage. So we learn the power of leverage from the conies. They said, why go through all that trouble when there's a rock, there's a pile of rocks over here, got some crevices that I can squeeze into. I'll just make my home right there. So we learn the power of leverage from cronies. Are you using the power of leverage? Some people, I've heard some people, because I'm in a network marketing business, I hear people say all the time, I don't like making money off folks. I don't like making money off people. Well, stop going to work then. Because when you say that, you're being a hypocrite. Because you don't like to make money off people, but you go to work every day where a company or the owner of a company makes money off you. Tell me how that's working in your life. Where is that getting you financially? So I want you to understand the power of leverage. You leverage other people, you leverage other things, you leverage systems, anything to make your life easier, then why not leverage that thing? Now, when we're talking about leveraging people, I don't want you to get the word leverage misconstrued with mistreating or taking advantage of somebody. When I leverage people in my business, I'm not mistreating them. I'm giving them value that they are seeking, and then I'm getting a small benefit from the value that I'm giving them. So I'm leveraging them. So a lot of people partner with me in my financial education franchise. I'm teaching them how to run their own franchise. So at the same time, when they produce, I earn a small commission based on their production. But guess what? They wouldn't have that production if they wouldn't have plugged into me and if I wouldn't have taught them how to build their own franchise. So not only am I helping them, but they are helping me because I'm getting leverage. Now I can help 100 people at one time, and I get 1% of 100 people. Now I have 100% of a thing. So understanding leverage, but I don't want you to confuse leverage with taking advantage of people. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you bringing value to the table that these people are seeking. You're giving them value, and as a result of them taking the value and applying the value, they're getting some sort of benefit, and based on the level of that benefit, you get a small portion of what they benefit from what you brought to the table. That's leverage. That's a mutually beneficial relationship. And not to misconstrue that with an equally beneficial. It's not equally beneficial, but it's mutually beneficial, meaning both parties agree. I agree to give you 10% for helping me build my franchise. You agree to pour into me everything that I need to know to build a successful franchise. So that's mutual. It's a win-win situation. You're right, Brian, a win-win situation, right? So understanding the power of leverage. And then and the next verse says, the locusts have no king, yet they go forth in bands, meaning they go forth together. They go forth in unity. So on Thursday, we talked about the power of unity. But guess what? In order to move forth without a king, in order to unite, then that means we have to have love. And I spoke on the fact that we don't unite as a people collectively because we treat our neighbor as we treat ourselves. Or in other words, we love our neighbor as we love ourselves. And because we barely love ourselves, we barely love our neighbor. And it shows in the way that we treat ourselves and the way that we treat our neighbors. Until we get our love for ourselves, the person in the mirror, way up, we're not really going to be able to unite. Because when I love myself, and then I start looking at my neighbor, that means I am willing to lay down my life for my neighbor, because if I love him as I love myself, if someone tries to come and do me harm, they're going to have to kill me before I let them do me harm, because I love myself that much. But when I love my neighbor equally as much, if someone is trying to do my neighbor harm, they're going to have to kill me, right? Because that's how much I love my neighbor. But because we struggle and have this weird relationship with the man in the mirror, then it's hard for us to truly love our neighbors. That's why we're struggling to unite. But there is great power in unity. And there's only one power greater than the power of unity, and that's the power of love. So we fix the power of love within ourselves and take an assessment of the things that are going on inside that's stopping us from loving ourselves wholly. Dealing with post-traumatic slavery syndrome is a real thing. But when we get to that place where we can love ourselves wholly, then we'll start seeing our neighbors as ourselves, and we start loving them. And that's where the unity comes from. Now we go from hoods to neighborhoods to actual communities. And that's what I'm striving for. That's why I do these shows every morning, to uplift and motivate. So we talked about the power of unity. Now we're on number 4. Again, it says 4 things that are small on the earth that are exceedingly wise. Number 1 was the ant, small, weak on the earth, but they gather all summer. So we learn, he's talking about preach, Reverend, Dr. Reverend Pastor Bishop Cortez. So we learn from the ant the power of preparation. The ant prepares all summer long. And then in lean times, the ant is partying while everybody else is struggling. Right? Then we learn from the conies the power of leverage. They leverage existing structures to create their homes instead of building their own homes from scratch. Right? So they understand the power of leverage. And then the The locust understands the power of unity. They go forth in bands, even though they have no king or no commander telling them to line up, telling them to flank this way and flank that way. They just understand the power of unity. And today we're looking at in verse 28, it says, the spider taketh hold with her hands and is in king's palaces, right? The spider taketh hold with her hands and is in king's palaces. What that simply means is that a spider does not have an army that goes about and conquers like a king does. But at the same time, the spider lives in the king's palace. The spider doesn't have an army like a king that goes about to conquer. But at the same time, the spider lives in a king's palace. Why? Because the spider has self-determination. See, sometimes we as people are sitting back waiting on other people to validate us before we make a move, before we do anything. Got to have self-determination. Sometimes we are sitting back waiting on someone else to give us a title before we move, right? We have to have the title before we perform the action, and that's not how it works. You actually have to perform the action first, then you're given a title. How many of you guys ever been on your job and you didn't get promoted until to the next position, supervisor or manager, till you first start acting like a supervisor or manager? Then they recognize that you already have the skills of a supervisor or manager. Then they gave you the promotion. Then they gave you the title. See, a lot of people are saying, I'm not doing any extra work. I'm not doing that. I'm not taking responsibility for this, that, and the other. They don't pay me to do that. Well, what happens when you have that situation? You never get promoted. It's the people who say, you know what? You're not paying me to be a manager, but I have management skills. So let me demonstrate my management skills, and then you get elevated. I just want you guys to understand there's power in self-determination. Do you have self-determination? Are you determined to get to where you're going, whether somebody else blesses it or not, whether somebody else validates you or not, whether somebody else gives you the title or not? See, what I want you guys to understand, and I'm talking to my fellow Christian folk, because we tend to let religion get in the way of our relationship with God. And when you have a relationship with God, you understand one thing, that I am the son or daughter of the Most High. As a result, there is not a single thing on this planet that if I set my mind to, I cannot accomplish. There's no such thing as fail for me, right? Some of us won't believe that strong enough for ourselves to really go after what we want to go after. Self-determination, guys. You have to determine in yourself that you are a king. I determine in myself that I am a God. I determine in myself that I am the son of the creator. So that by nature makes me a creator. So what do I create? I create my whole world exactly the way I want it to be. See, God is a creator, and he created the world, and he created me. He created me in his image. So now I am a mini creator. So what do I create? I create a mini world within the world that he created. And how do I create that world? First and foremost, with the words that come out of my mouth. So when you're talking about self-determination, are you determined to speak the right things so that they can come into manifestation? Self-determination. There is power in that. Stop waiting for other people to validate you, to give you a title, to give you a permission to be great. Nobody has to give me permission to be great. And I'm not waiting for somebody to recognize me for being great. I'm not waiting on somebody to validate me for being great. I have determined within myself that I am a king. That's why I'm building a kingdom. I have already determined for myself that I am a king. I don't need the president to tell me I'm a king. I don't need somebody else to knight me. No, I knighted my damn self. I'm a king, and I'm building a kingdom. I'm the son of the Most High Creator, so I am creating. That's what I do. Creating my own world. That's what you have the ability to do, but it starts with belief. We always talk about the cycle of belief. You don't believe in yourself, you won't take any action. You don't take actions, you don't get results. You don't get results, that further feeds your self-doubt and disbelief, and that keeps you in a perpetual state of failure. But if you flip that thing around, you believe in yourself, you're going to take some action. You take some action, you're going to get some results. Those results are going to feed your belief. Your belief is going to grow, and now you're in a perpetual state of success. The cycle of success starts with belief. You have to have self-determination. Do you have self-determination, or are you waiting on someone else to determine for you the direction of your life? I'm going to ask you that again. Are you waiting for someone else to determine for you the direction of your life, or do you have the balls to determine for yourself the direction of your own life? I've already knighted myself. I've already determined myself that I am king. The Bible says that ye are all gods under the Most High God. What does that mean? I am a God. And most people have trouble with me just saying that phrase. And that's a direct quote from the scripture. But you know what happens? I'm going to tell you why people don't have self-determination. I'm going to tell you why people do not claim, you know, their birthright. I'm going to give you one word and tell you why. And I hope I don't step on any toes, but at the same time, I hope I do, so you can come out of that foolishness. One reason you won't claim your birthright as a God under the Most High God, one word: responsibility. I'm gonna let that marinate. You don't claim your birthright as a God under the Most High God, because to be a God, you have to be responsible. You have to take responsibility when you claim your birthright as a God under the Most High God. And what most of us don't want to do that. Most of us don't want to claim being a king under the Most High King, because becoming with a king, you have to take responsibility. That's why most people run from their calling of being an entrepreneur, because as an entrepreneur, you have to take responsibility. See, when I had my job and I was going to work, somebody else was taking the responsibility. They were taking all the risk. All I had to do was show up, do as I was told, and I get a paycheck in 2 weeks, right? But now that I've retired, there's a different sense of responsibility on my shoulders. I don't just get to show up. I got to show up and show out, or my kids don't eat. But you know what? As a man, I said my time is worth me fighting this battle day in and day out, getting up, getting out, getting something, me taking the responsibility, me being a God under the Most High God, me being a mini creator and me creating, me being a mini king and me building my kingdom. That takes a great sense of responsibility. That's why people have no self-determination, because they would rather somebody else determine for them the course of their life, and then they sit back and complain about where their life is going, the direction their life is headed. Well, hell, you take the wheel. Now, if you run into a ditch, you know there's only one person to blame. I mean, technically, there's only one person to blame anyway. But sometimes when you let somebody else direct and guide you, then you can blame them when your life runs off course. No, you are a God under the Most High God. That means you have dominion over your world. How are you going to govern? How are you going to rule your kingdom within the kingdom? Stop running from it, man. Self-determination, there's power in that. I've determined that I'm going to take everything that God has put into me, and I'm going to use every tool that he's given me, every resource that he's given me, because I believe, I don't know how you believe, but I believe everything that I need to fulfill my purpose has already been given to me. Some of you guys are asking God for stuff that he already gave you. I believe that everything that he has for me has already been given to me. I just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other along the path of this purpose that he has laid out for me. And then more and more things that he's already buried within me will become uncovered. And I'm going to get every tool that I need to fight the next battle, to slay the next dragon, to move on from glory to glory. And I don't think I have to ask him for anything else. See, he's given me everything. So I just walk through this life with praise. I just thank you. I just thank you. I just thank you. I don't know where you're taking me. I know you've given me a vision and you showed me what it looks like, but I just don't know this path that you're taking me on. I can't see how it's going to lead me to the vision that you showed me, but I have to trust you and just take this path. I just walk along this path, and every time a obstacle, hurdle, or something jumps out, you've already given me a tool that I need to overcome, get under, get around, get through, to slay. You've already given me the tool, so I just have to trust it, and I just keep moving. I just keep moving. I keep trusting. I keep believing. I keep taking action. I keep getting results. I analyze those results. They feed my belief, and my belief gets bigger. My belief gets bigger. I take bigger and bolder actions. I get bigger and bolder results. I analyze those results, and it feeds my belief. Now my belief is so freaking huge. So freaking huge. I'm determined to live out my purpose. You got to be, Brian. You've got to be. But who determined that purpose for you? You did. See, some of us won't determine our purpose, man, because we are afraid of taking the responsibility that's required of us to live out that purpose. No, I'm going to let somebody else dictate. I'm going to let somebody else guide. I'm going to let somebody else take the lead. No, man, you have to have self-determination. I've determined for myself that I believe what the word says, that I am a God under the Most High God, so I'm going to govern myself accordingly. I am a king under the Most High King, so I'm going to rule my kingdom. I'm going to build my kingdom, and I'm going to rule. I'm going to reign in my kingdom under the Most High God in his kingdom. So it's all about you understanding the power of self-determination. Stop letting other people dictate and determine the course of your life. Take full responsibility. So if I don't bring food to the table, my kids are going to look at me and say, "Pop, what the hell?" And I have to own that. I'm taking full responsibility for the family that I've been blessed with. That is part of my kingdom that I am determined to rule. So if I don't put food on the table, then that's on me, right? But some of you guys have determined that somebody else is going to lay out your course. So when you go to a job and you lose that job and now you can't put food on the table, then when your kids say, "Pops, what the heck?" "Oh, son, I lost my job, man. So that's why I couldn't put food on the table." And kids are smart. They're looking at you saying, "You healthy, you got 2 hands, you got 2 arms, you got two legs, you got a working mind, you got a working brain. What do you mean you lost your job? What does that matter that you lost your job and you can't put food on the table?" Better get up, get out and get some. Go cut some grass, rake some leaves, go clean a gutter or two. You have to be who you are called to be. And the word says that we are all gods under the Most High God. That means I have the ability to create my own world. But in creating my own world, I have to be responsible for that which I create. And that's why most of us don't have self-determination, because we're running from the responsibility of being responsible for that which I create. Right? But even taking no action is an action. Even when you take no action, that's an action. Right? So I sometimes have to take responsibility for the decisions that you make. And you also have to take responsibilities for the decisions that you don't make, because not making a decision is also an action that you're responsible for. See, most people don't get that. It's like, do you decide to go left or right? Nope, I'm just not going to decide at all. Well, when you not decide at all, that's still an action. That's still an action. You decided to not take action. You decided to not make a decision. You're responsible for that too. So guys, I want you to understand that self-determination is powerful. I want you to look yourself in the mirror every morning and say, self, I am determined to take full responsibility for creating the world that I want to live in. I am determined to take full responsibility for creating the world that I want to live in. Yes, not deciding is definitely an action. Exactly, Jolyn. When you don't decide, that's an action. So whatever consequence comes from not deciding, you're responsible for that too. So you might as well try to make a calculated decision where you at least improve the odds of getting the results that you want. So self-determination. Got to determine the direction that you want your life to go in, and you be fully responsible for the outcome of that decision. We are all gods under the Most High God. That means we are all creators of our own little worlds. So when the things aren't going right in your world, you are not only responsible for the way things are going, but you're also responsible for changing it. You're responsible for changing it. People always, when in our community, we're good for saying when somebody asks you how you're doing, you say, oh, I can't complain. Can't complain and shouldn't complain, because complaining never changes anything, right? So if I did complain, it wouldn't change anything. So let's get to the place where we stop complaining and understand that we have the power to make course corrections and change any and everything in our world. But first, you got to see yourself as a king. You got to see yourself as a God. You got to see yourself as the creator of that little world. Because when you see yourself as the creator of your little world, now you start to dictate change within that world, and you start to craft, mold, and create that thing into what you really want. I have to seriously work on my self-determination. You got to, man. It's all about just taking responsibility. That's all it's about, man. I am determined that I'm going to be a billionaire. Right? But in that determination, I understand the world that I'm creating to make that happen, that world still has a family in it. So while I go so hard towards building this empire of financial and business success, I still have to make sure that my family is straight. I still have to make sure that my relationships with my children are solid and good. I still have to make sure that my relationship with my wife is solid and good. So I still have to find balance in everything that I am creating, because there's an equilibrium. That's why the world never falls off its axis and floats off into space somewhere, because there's an equilibrium, there's a balance, and life is all about balance. But if you are not taking responsibility, you're letting someone else determine your course in this life, then you, my friend, will find yourself somewhere way away from your passion. And when you're not walking in your passion, I promise you, you will never fall into your purpose. See, we're given our passions for a reason. Our passions are put inside of us so that we will cross paths based on that passion with other people that will help lead, guide, and help us to determine our purpose. And when you start walking in your purpose, then all the tools that you need to build the world that you need to live in order to fulfill your purpose will be revealed to you. But you have to have self-determination. Stop letting other people determine the course of your life. So guys, we are at 7:40. Give you a really quick recap over this entire series that we've done. So we're going to call this the Power Series, the Power Series Volume 1. So if you followed us along, then you know that we started with a scripture. Now, I don't care if you believe in the Bible or not, but understand that wisdom is the application of truth. But there are some prerequisites to wisdom. The first prerequisite to wisdom is ignorance. That is the absence of truth. Then the second prerequisite to wisdom is knowledge. That is the accumulation of truth. And then there's understanding. Understanding is to know why something is true. And then when you apply ignorance, knowledge, and understanding, then you gain wisdom from the experience of that application. So it doesn't matter whether you believe in the Bible or not. You take information, and if you test it and see that it is true, now that becomes knowledge. Now you apply that knowledge or you understand why that it is true, then you apply that knowledge and that understanding, and you gain wisdom through those experiences. So whether you believe in the Bible or not, truth is truth. So Proverbs 30:24 says, there are 4 things that are small on the earth, but are exceedingly wise. Started with the ant. The ant is a weak creature, but gathers all summer. That means the ant has the forethought of preparation and foresight to say, in a few months, lean times are coming. So let's prepare for those lean times now while we are living in a time of abundance. Right? When you're creating your world, understand that life is cyclical. Your world is cyclical. Your world has seasons, right? So summertime, the season of summer is your summer of abundance, right? Because you have longer days, you have more time to put in more work, right? More time to put in more work. So summer is that abundance. The fall time is your transition. You're taking that which you've sown and you're now harvesting it in the summertime. So that's in the fall time, and that's transition. And then winter is your lean time. We all have to go through lean times in our life. Why? Because it's the lean times that cause the growth. So with that pain that you go through as you're experiencing those lean times, that lead to springtime when you have new growth, new ideas, a fresh perspective based on that pain of going through that lean season. So now you have the new growth, you have springtime, and now you have fresh ideas, you have new growth, you have a fresh perspective, and then that takes you back to your summer of abundance. So the ant prepares in that whole time of abundance while everybody else is kicking it and partying. The ant is working. The ant is working. And then when everybody else is struggling in a lean time, the ant is partying. So we have to understand the power of preparation. Guys, winter is always coming. Winter is always coming. So you have to start preparing yourself for winter while you have the time and wherewithal to do that. So another type and shadow of winter is you look at your golden years. When you don't have the long days anymore, are you preparing for that winter? Right? Then we learn from the conies. The conies are a rock badger. They build their houses in the rock. So they understand the power of leverage. Unlike the beaver who takes and goes and chews off twigs and trees and builds its own structures from scratch, the conies say, here's a structure that already exists. I'm going to leverage that which already exists, and I'm going to make that my home. So understanding the power of leverage. Then we understood from the locust the power of unity. Right, so the locust, the word says the locust goes, has no king, but yet they move forth in bands. That means they move forth collectively, even though they don't have a commander. They understand the power of unity. And it is my understanding and it's my belief that we don't have unity within the Black community is because we don't love ourselves. And because we don't love ourselves fully, we can't fully love our neighbors. So we can't unite with our neighbors when we're struggling internally to figure out why we're worthy of the love for our own self first. See, the word says you love your neighbor as you love yourself. And that's what we're doing today. We're loving our neighbor as we love ourselves. And because we barely love ourselves, we're barely loving our neighbor. We have to get this love thing down so that we love ourselves fully. Then we can love our neighbors fully. And then we can create a unified front and we can go forth by bands without a commander. And then today we learned that the spider taketh hold with her hands and is in king's palaces. That means the spider doesn't have an army that goes forth and conquers. All that the spider can conquer is that which she can conquer with her hands. But a king has a whole army, has a whole military, has all of these subjects under him so he can go and conquer. But you don't need all of that to be a conqueror is what this is saying. You don't need all that to be a king. The spider takes hold with her hands but lives in the king's palace. So you can determine for yourself that you're a king. And you can live as a king without the appointment of being king by somebody else. You can determine that for yourself. In fact, it has already been written and determined for you that you are a king under the Most High King. You are a God under the Most High God. But you have to take full responsibility for your kingdom. You have to take full responsibility. If you are a God, then you are a child of the Creator. That means you have the ability to create. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God. So your words are what determines the creation of your world. What are you speaking into manifestation? Is it positive? Is it negative? If your past were to catch up with you today, is that going to be a good thing or a bad thing? See, my past is finally catching up with me. That's why I was able to retire from my job, because I sowed positive seeds for the last 2-3 years, and my past is finally catching up with me. And based on being able to reap that harvest, now I'm in a good place. But some of you guys have sown negative seeds for the last 3 years. So stop running from that past. Go ahead, let that past of negativity catch up with you, batten down the hatches, weather that storm, and then come out of that thing and speak nothing but life, speak nothing but positivity into your world going forward. Then you put yourself in position to really have an abundant life, because you sow. Eventually there's time between the time that you sow, there's time, and then you will reap the harvest based on that positivity that you've sown, and that will take you to another level. So guys, we got a couple questions, so I'll do a quick Q&A, and then we'll get out of here. Every morning I write this characteristic in my journal, in addition to self-development, self-assurance, and self-motivation. You're exactly right. And read it every morning, but read it to yourself out loud every night about 10 or 12 times, Jolyn. Don't just write it down. Read it to yourself. Let that be the last thing that comes out of your mouth and into your ear gate every night before you doze off. Good stuff. Says, I'm a t-shirt designer, but I still work and get paid every week, but I still strive to get my design out by word of mouth. Is that a slow motion? Yes, it is, but I will offer you this. My financial success membership includes branding and marketing training. So you can join my financial success membership for free. It's $35 a month. And I can help you with the branding and marketing aspect to build a bigger and better brand, to attract that customer base that you need, Craig, to get your t-shirt designs out there. Heck, you can even send me a t-shirt, man. I'll wear it on the show and give you a shout out, man, and try to help you out that way as well. So do that. Send me an inbox if you want more information on the financial success membership, and I will help you as much as I can. The only thing is, I do not sell my branding and marketing coaching outside of the people who subscribe to my financial success membership. That's just something I've decided to keep in-house. Those who partner with me in that capacity, I just teach them and train them what I know, because I want them to win. So in order for you to get that, it don't cost anything extra. The $35 a month includes branding and marketing coaching. Then you subscribe to that membership, you're plugged in, you got some skin in the game, and then I will teach you what I know from a branding and marketing standpoint to help you get your brand established. Law of attraction, exactly right. While you have 33 people, the message is growing. Washington, you know, I'm just you know, just trying to uplift our people, man. That's all this thing is about for me. You know, I do have a business, I do have a brand. So if you guys want to subscribe to my financial success membership, that does help me. That is what allowed me to fire my boss last week, right? That helps me. That let me fire my boss, because I have so many people subscribe to my financial success membership. And that allows me to study, that allows me to gain new life experiences, that allows me to bring you fresh perspective every morning, because I subscribe to a method that says learn, do, teach. As I'm learning new things, I'm doing and implementing those things, and I'm teaching it to you guys at the same time. Reason I do that is because learning something without application of something takes up space in your brain. See, your brain has an infinite capacity to stretch, but it only wants to store, it stores things in a certain way so that it can recall them in a certain way. But if you just keep putting stuff in and you never apply the stuff, it gets stuck in your brain, and your brain just keeps following it further and further back, so that you can eventually you'll never be able to recall it, even though it's there. So what happens is, when you learn something and then you actually apply what you learn, it's like this. My brain is the hard drive. But through application of learning something, now that gets into my spirit. Otherwise, it goes into the cloud. The cloud is an infinite storage capacity where I can recall what I want. My brain is infinite, but it will store and file things away. And the more I pass up on top of things without using that information, it will store it, but it puts it in a place that I can't recall it after a while. So I learn it, I apply what I learned, that puts it in the cloud so I can reach up and grab it whenever I need it. And then I teach it. When I teach it, that further embeds it in my spirit. That further embeds it in my spirit. Now it's getting deep down in my DNA. So now it just exudes from me. So just being around me, you just pick up certain things, and that's how you take your children from employees to entrepreneurship. You have to learn, do, and teach and submerge yourself into a culture of entrepreneurship so that you can start feeding on that, and then you learn, do, and teach what you're learning via entrepreneurship. That gets down into your spirit, and now you glow with the conversation. You glow with the language of entrepreneurship, and those who get around you, they start sucking that up through osmosis. So when you have a household of children and you're an entrepreneur, now that which is in your DNA seeps into their DNA. Now they become master entrepreneurs. And then what happens now, because it's in their DNA, now when they have children, when they procreate, they're passing it on genetically through the DNA, through the procreation. And then if you're like me, I'm pushing my children to mate with other entrepreneurs. Now you got two entrepreneurs that come together and they both mate. Now you have a super entrepreneur that comes out of the womb that way. Now you're talking about your family going to greater and greater heights, greater and greater heights. My kids are 5 and 11. Super cool, super cool. I don't associate with nothing but entrepreneurs. Outside of my family, you know, I got family and friends who won't even partner with me in business. I got family. Most of my friends are entrepreneurs. I got family who still work jobs and things of that nature, won't partner with me, and that's fine, but my kids don't get to associate with them. You might say that's a harsh thing, but I've got a 200-year plan. I'm gonna say that again. So I'm gonna let that sink in. I've got a 200-year plan. And for that plan to come into manifestation, my children have to be submerged in the culture of entrepreneurship. Last thing I need is for somebody undoing what I'm doing for my children. So I let my children go hang out with the wrong people, and they tell my children, man, you should get a job. Hell no, you shouldn't. So you have to be careful about the association that you yourself associate with, but then you have to be careful about the people that you allow your children to associate with. So when I allow my children to associate with the children of entrepreneurs, then I know what that conversation is like. They're telling their children, like I'm telling my children, you're going to go to school to gain a skill that's going to help you in entrepreneurship, not go to school to gain a skill that's going to help you get a job. Right? That's what we're talking about. So when you immerse your children in a culture of entrepreneurship, then that entrepreneur spirit gets in their DNA. And then when it's in their DNA and they go out and have children themselves, then that is passed on through the child genetically. Now it's in the newborn's DNA from birth. And then it's your job to cultivate and nurture the environment that will further feed and nourish that entrepreneur spirit. And then you have a Jalen Bledsoe. Kid started a tech company when he's 11 years old, multi-million-dollar business right now. He's 17, right? He's 17 or 18 or something like that. He used to go to school with my kids, used to live around the corner. But those are the people that I'm trying to get my kids involved with. Those are the relationships that I'm trying to make sure that my kids foster. I've always known that I didn't want to work for someone else the rest of my life. I'm trying to find my niche. How do you find your niche? You look at those things that you are passionate about, Jolyn. Where is your passion at right now? See, the problem that the problem that we are experiencing in this world right now is that not enough of us are walking in our purpose. What leads us to our purpose is our passion. The reason we walk away from our passions is because we haven't figured out how to make an income from those passions. So when you join my financial success membership, I teach you how to turn any passion into a profit. So now you're walking in your passion, because when you're walking in your passion, other people walking in their passion, and your passion and their passion will intersect. And sometimes it is that spark of that intersection that you need to boom. Now I understand my purpose. Right? So you get to that place. Now you're walking in your passion. You get into your purpose, but you're drawing an income from your passion. So that's going to keep you in your purpose. So finding your niche has a lot to do with what you are passionate about. I have no idea why before I found my purpose, I had no idea why I was so passionate about coaching, mentoring, and teaching, in particular, young people. That's just something that I just love to do. But then I know that my gift is exhortation. I love to lift people up. So now I'm moving more and more into my purpose every day based on following my passion. But that didn't start, Jolyn, until I learned how to derive an income from my passion. Now I have an income from my passion. I don't have to go outside of my passion to get a job that's going to take me away from my passion so that I can feed my family. I'm feeding my family from my passion. And then from that passion, it led me to my purpose. So now I'm walking in a greater purpose, but I'm still able to eat and feed my family based on the things that I'm passionate on. So I'm doing what I'm called to do and feeding my family at the same time. I'm a people person, and I'm good at talking to others. My financial success membership might be good for you because you can learn how to teach people the art of finance. And you can earn commissions by plugging people into our financial success membership. So send me an inbox. I'll send you some information on that. But network marketing businesses would be good for you. Blogging and video marketing would be good for you. Affiliate marketing, if you like to talk about a particular subject, maybe money is not the subject that you like to talk about. Whatever the subject that you like to talk about, then maybe you should be blogging about that, doing videos about that, attracting people to you based on your knowledge of that thing. And then you can figure out how to sell a product or a service, that's related to that thing. And then you're now eating from your passion. Does that make sense? Guys, it is at the top of the hour, man, and I've got a couple meetings I got to prep for. So I appreciate all the questions. I appreciate all the feedback. I appreciate the love. 33 people, 35 people at the height of this stream. So I believe the message is starting to resonate with people. I so love you guys. Count it an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to be able to come to you each and every morning and present to you. Let me look up really quickly the address to Let me look up the address to the event in Milwaukee this weekend. So I want to give you that address, not this weekend, this Wednesday. I want to give you the address to that before we get out of here. And then I'm going to put it in the chat as well. So just let me look it up real quick. And if you're not on my fan page, guys, go over to my fan page, Financial Health Mentor, and just subscribe to that fan page. That's where I put a lot of my energy in. Put a lot of my energy into that fan page. So a lot of my events and my travel schedule and all of that kind of stuff is right there in that fan page, guys. So that's the best way to keep up with what I've got going on. So again, the show is brought to you by American Hustle. I will be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin this Wednesday, 6:00 p.m. The address is 7817 West Brown Deer Road, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This Friday and Saturday and Sunday, I'll be in Atlanta at the Crown Plaza Airport Hotel. I'm doing a meet and greet Saturday morning from 9 to 11. So if you're in the Atlanta area and you want to come out and meet and hang out with us, you're welcome to do so. Go to my fan page, Financial Health Mentor. You will see the actual events there, RSVP there. That way I can know who to expect when we do these meet and greets. But Wednesday, Day after tomorrow, I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, doing my wealth building workshop, how to build wealth from scratch, in Milwaukee with my man Jay Turner of American Hustle Investments. So if you're in the Milwaukee area or you know people in that area, you can plug them into our team. If you're with our Financial Success membership and you got family in that area, you can send people to that event and I will get them plugged in. They will be on your team and you can start making some commissions that way. So I'm your main man, H. Cortez, one and only financial health mentor to the working class. Until I talk to you in tomorrow's video, I want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. Peace out, people.